tonight. We're gonna open up and just do a little bit of a panel here. Let you get to know some of these coaches, and also turn the mic over to you and let you ask anything you want. So nothing is off the table. So Athletes in Action is one of the world's largest sports ministries, and we help athletes and coaches all over the world wrestle with questions of faith and character development. We are an organization that works really hard to help coaches and players develop their character as they play, and the model of that character that we use is Jesus. And so I'm gonna turn it over to Chris Davis. Chris Davis has been a huge asset for us on our tour here. He's able to journal and capture everything that's going on at the convention, at practices, as we get to know you. And so I'm gonna let Chris ask a few questions and facilitate our time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. First of all, we are going to allow you guys to just briefly introduce yourselves, and then we'll hit the Q&A section. So go right ahead.
You guys have already heard me talk too much. Coach Neal, I'm just, like I said earlier, fired up to be here. Thanks for coming here. I've been coaching for 8 years. I was an offensive coordinator at Howard Payne University for 4 years, my first job. And I was an offensive line coach for 1 year at Texas Lutheran University. Actually played against in a exhibition game against Monterey Tech. My first game coaching offensive line. I remember they had a guy playing defensive end that we could not block. So my debut as an O-line coach was not very good. But at Hendrix College now, going into our 3rd year, and I'm excited to be here.
Hey guys, I'm Jameson Stevens. I'm from Moorhead, Kentucky. That's like the eastern side of Kentucky. From Moorhead State University. It's a D1 program up there, and this is my first season with them actually. Prior to that, I was with Center College, which is a Division III program in Kentucky, same state. And prior to that, I played for Center. So I just was blessed to be able to coach for my alma mater, and glad to be a part of the greatest profession.
Hi guys, my name is Brett Morgan. I had an opportunity to coach professional football in the CFL. Left there and had an opportunity to do something similar to this. I went to Brazil and taught and clinicked with coaches like yourselves in Brazil, and was able to do some growing and some professional development there. I'm currently doing private instruction with quarterbacks throughout the United States and internationally. Really want to thank you guys for having me.
What's up, coaches? I'm Chris Couch. I came down here and spoke last year. As I'm entering my 9th year coaching college football. I just got a new job at Point University as a special teams coordinator and linebackers coach. Before then, I was at Georgia Southern University, and fired up to be here and spend some time with y'all.
Excellent. Actually, you can hang on to the mic down there. And first question we have for you guys, we're just going to lob this softball right up to you, and that is, why do you coach?
Oh man, why do I coach? My dad was a Hall of Fame coach in Georgia for 30 years. He showed me the way to coach in a manner that you win a bunch of ball games, and you also do it in the right way by developing young men to be people in the world, not just athletes. That's a big part of why I do it, and also just be able to interact and help young men become the best they can be in life. The ability to develop those guys, man, is just when you see them have that aha moment, whether it be spiritually or football or academically, is just awesome to see, and that's one of the main reasons why I coach.
I'd say I coach because I'm sick, to be honest with you. I don't remember since being as small as possible, football not being the center of my life. Just obviously growing up playing, and then when they wouldn't let me play anymore, I had to find another outlet to be a part of football. And I've just been infected with doing this ever since. And this career, I know, has done that to a lot of people, good and bad. And I know the moment where it became a real positive for me coaching is when I realized that part where I can use football as the vessel, as a conduit throughout my life to be able to serve. It's unbelievable. I literally have not worked a day in my life since I've coached football. So with it being passion driven, And then being able to wake up and every day and night be saturated in it all the time, it's just a really, really, really blessed, to be honest with you, to be able to use it. So I coach football because I love it, because it's my passion, and it's incredible to be able to share that passion with other people like yourselves.
I'll see why I coach. I guess it goes back to, my dad didn't have a great male role model, and his coaches were his role models. Those were his male role models in his life. So he learned how to be a man through his coaches, and then, kind of similar to me, I had my dad as a male role model, but I was still kind of an idiot going into college. I was a knucklehead, but by being around my coaches, by being around these very mature and men that want to just just spend every minute with you and just love on you, and seeing that really made me mature a ton. And then after I graduated, being able to come back and coach myself, and being able to see guys come into the program and then graduate from the program just completely polar opposites from what they came in as. Not only are they stronger and bigger and better at football, but they're men. They're ready to go out and be a part of society and be just great in every part of life. I think we all get joy from just seeing any player that we have coached find success in any area of their life, because we can feel like we're part of that, and that's why I coach. I love it.
Just going last, I think all I really have to do is say that I agree with these guys, but the one thing that I would add, I kind of touched on it at the beginning of my talk. I'm a firm believer that coaches, if they're not the last stand on earth, they're pretty close to the last. In the United States of America, moms and dads are getting divorced at an alarming rate. About 50% of the marriages that begin end in divorce. And so there's a lot of kids out there that are looking for something consistent in a male. And media, popular culture, the things that kids see on TV, they see on the internet, is not real manhood. It's not authentic. It's not the kind of manhood that World War II was fought with. It's not the kind of manhood that can solve a problem. And so I think coaching is really the best avenue for me and for these guys to kind of be that last stand on earth and give kids an example of what it is to be a real man.
Excellent. Good job, guys. So what is the best piece of advice you've been given? Yeah. Let's start here and head back the other way.
Wow. Probably the best advice that I've ever gotten was, two things. Do what you love and you'll never work, like Coach Morgan just said, and go find a girl who's as crazy about football as you are. I'm married to my best friend, and my wife supports me, and she loves me through thick and thin, through the peaks and the valleys, and I got that advice from my head football coach. He actually played matchmaker and helped me because I couldn't get a date. I didn't have no game. So my head coach, incidentally, he helped me find my wife, and we've been able to do life together, and that's been pretty sound advice.
My best advice that I've ever received, and that I would like to pass on to everybody that I'm around, you guys, and any time I'm ever able to speak in a situation like this, is definitely invest. That word, invest. The more you put into the players, the more you're going to get out of it. Just being able to, my favorite times during the season, I love being on the field and coaching and getting after them and scheming up plays in the meeting room with the other coaches and all that. But my favorite time is that time after practice when everybody kind of huddles around. I get my wide receivers around me and we're stretching and we're kind of closing out, and I just kind of ask questions around. Hey, who are you dating this week? I know you always got a new girlfriend. Hey, how did that test go yesterday? What are you doing this weekend? You got anything going on? What are y'all getting into? That kind of stuff, just opening up these conversations where you learn so much about their lives and what they have going on. I know my coaches did it to me, and I do it every day because I just love to get to know these players. You get more out of it when you do. And so, my best advice, I guess, would just be invest in these players as much as you possibly can. whether that be, like I said, just finding out what they're doing the weekend, or even creating these situations where you can have Bible studies, invite them over to your house, and talk to them about, you know, what's most important in your life, which for me is the Lord. So I am open about it, and I feel like you should be, you know, just open with these players in every area of your life.
I would say don't be denied. So as someone, just be relentless. As someone that had a limited play career, I thought I was a better player, but I didn't get to do as much. But as a limited play career, I got to coach professional football before I was 30 years old. Are you kidding me? Like, and it was not because I'm awesome. It was completely divine. And the only thing I was really ever that I can give myself any credit for is that I was just relentless. Like if someone gave me an inch, I was taking it. If a coach wanted to have a conversation with me, I was there. If I would spend all night stalking someone, fine. That is whatever it needed. You know, I've worked for free a lot more than I've worked for pay. Multiple NFL teams I've been in OTAs with, lots of big colleges I've been with, and it was with nothing promised. But what's the alternative? Not taking a shot? Then go take your shot. You know what I mean? So don't let your circumstances or what you think is limiting limit your goals. Because you coach in Mexico, you can be the greatest coach in the world in Mexico. There's great coaches at every level. So whatever goal it is that you decide you have, be relentless in pursuing it.
It's hard to follow up all those answers, but first defensive coordinator I worked for, a guy named Jack Curtis, he's a defensive coordinator at Georgia Southern. He, when I got my first full-time coaching job about 4 years ago now, he said, make sure you're genuine in what you do. Guys, you know, y'all in here, players especially, can tell you when you're being phony. When you're out there trying to coach or trying to do things that's really not you. The only thing is, if you're a yeller and a screamer, then tell you what, go out there and be genuine, be a yeller and a screamer. That's not my style. But whatever your style of coaching is, don't try to be somebody else. Try to coach the way you coach. Because as soon as they realize that you're coaching them because you love them and you want something more for them, then they're going to run through a brick wall for you. You know, and I just say be genuine and make sure they know that you love them and you'll do anything for them and they'll do anything for you.
Wow. So there's some great answers, guys. You get life advice, coaching advice, a little bit of love advice there. It's fantastic. Fantastic. So we're going to open it up to you guys. Maybe take 2 or 3 questions from the audience, and you know, if you have a particular question, just raise your hand, and we will have Matt track you down.
Howdy, Coach Daniel from the American School here in Mexico City. I'll say it in English and Spanish. Is it necessary for a coach to have played college ball or semi-pro ball to be able to say he can coach as part of his pedigree? Pregunta es si es necesario o indispensable haber jugado Liga Mayor o algún nivel profesional para poder usarlo como un pedigrí para ser coach.
I'll go ahead and take this one because, guys, I was a terrible football player. That's what I let y'all know. I mean, I had no aspirations. My dad was a coach, like I said, and he told me when I started thinking about I was going to go play college ball, he's like, son, you're not good enough. I got it. But the thing that I did was, like he was saying, I was relentless. I got an opportunity to interview for a job at a junior college right out of high school. And I went in there and I showed them that I knew football better than I could play it. And as long as you go and make contacts, you work your tail off, anything can happen. You know, and I just say, you know, you don't have to play college ball, I promise you. Because if that was a requirement for coaching college, then I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So it's not a requirement, just work your tail off and be relentless, like Coach said.
I think when you've played at a high level, it gives you an advantage at the door with players. I think there is some respect garnered. But there's a duration period of that, I think. I think at the end of the day, a player wants to know that a coach can make him better, that coach can help him reach his individual goals, and that guy's a hard worker that cares about it. And I think that's not a requisite of playing or not playing. And I know an example, like I grew up in Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had an offensive coordinator there named Jed Fish, and he played 0 high school football. I don't think he played youth football. He played tennis. He played tennis in high school. Dad was a high school coach, got into it. He decided to go to the University of Florida as a student, and then he just stalked Steve Spurrier every day, leaving notes saying like, "Can I serve you coffee today?" And eventually they're like, "We've either got to let this guy in or call the cops." And that's basically what they said. So, and he just, so he has zero football background. The guy's been an OC at the highest level, So there's a lot of different ways to get there. Absolutely.
I don't have too much to add on that. They've covered it very well. But I will tell you, the last staff I was on had one coach that was a very good coach that did not play any college football. He was a coach right out of high school, grad assistant, so just did the paperwork, and a second coach, an assistant D-line coach that played basketball in college. So there you go.
Kind of the ulterior to what Chris said. I can speak to that from, I had a modestly successful career as a college player. I was very fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of other good players that made me a lot better. So by no virtue of my own was I a successful college player. But one thing I do know is that when I was on the other side of the whistle, all of a sudden as a coach, I remember it hit me like a ton of bricks, the responsibility to be a great teacher. And just because you were a good player does not make you a good communicator, does not make you a good servant, does not make you a good teacher. In fact, I feel like I had to overcome a lot of things because certain things as a quarterback came naturally to me. But when it doesn't come naturally to the kid that you're coaching, you have to be able to empathize with that kid, and you have to be able to communicate something to him that maybe you never had to worry about as a player. So I think there's a lot of guys out there that think that their pedigree as a player, by default, makes them a good coach, when in reality, there are brilliant minds out there. I mean, I'll mention two names. Say what you want about the guy in his personal life and controversy, but Mike Leach is a guy that I really look up to in some ways, not in others. But that guy was a law student. He didn't play a lick of college football, but he got to know a guy. He went and stalked a guy named Hal Mummy, who has, say what you want about that guy, but those two guys changed the way the game is played, and they did it between their ears, and they did it on the grind, coaching. And then I'll mention another name to you guys. There's a kid that I played high school football with. He was the quarterback ahead of me, 2 years older than me, and he was about that tall. He was a good high school football player, but he was never going to be a college athlete, kind of like Chris was saying. And he broke down the door at the University of Arkansas. He made the team as a holder. He was the holder for 4 years, and he was perfect because he was so low to the ground. He didn't even have to kneel down. And he did that for 4 years under the assumption that one day he was going to be a GA, and this was his career track. Talk about not being denied. He wanted to be a GA at the University of Arkansas. He wanted to be an NFL scout. He wanted to get on an NFL staff, and he eventually wanted to work his way through the NFL, and he's doing that right now. He's the quarterback's coach for the Chicago Bears, and he's a year older than me. And he's actually very open about his aspiration to one day become the head football coach at the University of Arkansas. And I'm telling you guys, remember this name, Dow Loggins. He'll be the head coach at Arkansas one day because he's that relentless in his pursuit. So, short answer to your question is no.
Excellent. Do we have any other questions? Oh, excellent.
Thanks. This is related with football too. Here in Mexico, we have the belief if you play linebacker, you got to coach linebacker, and you can go to the other side or another position. So, what you guys can say about that to the Mexican coaches, about this situation? I'm gonna say it in Spanish. ¿Qué puedes decir de que aquí en México se piensa de que tienes que coachar la posición que jugaste? Hay esa creencia que si jugaste de online tienes que jugar de línea ofensiva, fuerza. Entonces, ¿qué pueden opinar sobre este tema?
Yeah, I don't know all the dynamics that are in play with that here in Mexico, but my answer would be I encourage guys to go and coach a position that they didn't play. The game really opened up for me. My appreciation for offensive football really blossomed as an offensive line coach. I mean, I'm a pencil neck coaching offensive line, you know, and but getting out of my comfort zone was huge for me. And so whether you played a certain position or not, I think it's actually to your advantage and to your players' advantage to get out and coach something else. Even if you have a dream of coming back and eventually being a linebackers coach, if that's what you played or whatever, but you will be a better linebackers coach if you go to the offensive side of the ball and learn it from that end. And so yeah, I don't think there should be any stigma against a guy who played a certain position coaching another position. In fact, I would encourage it.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. I'll just give a second example. You know, I was wide receiver my whole career, and then the job opening that came open was tight ends. So I basically just, I knew nothing. I didn't know what they did over there. You know, I was a wide receiver, so all I cared about was getting the ball, scoring touchdowns. But anyways, so I just locked myself in the room with the O-line coach for like 3 weeks and just said, hey, teach me everything about the offensive line. What do the tight ends do? You know, everything about it. And, you know, by the time the season started after that summer, I was a much smarter football coach than I ever would have been if I hadn't gone through that. So, you know, I think that, like he said, it really helps to coach different positions.
It might not be popular, but I think a lot of guys get into coordinator and head coaching jobs when they haven't earned it. And I think a lot of it is that if you're going to be an offensive coordinator, you should have been a masterful position coach in all the positions offensively before you're a coordinator. If you want to be a head football coach, to me, you should have been a coordinator on both sides of the ball after being a great position coach at every position. I promise you, if Bill Belichick walks in, you can coach long snappers as well as you can coach DBs. You can coach quarterbacks as well as you can holders. You can coach it all. I think if you're a ball coach, you're a ball coach. You can coach whatever. And I think the guys, I know, I was told this coming in to specialize in something, and I kind of do, but I would advise not doing that. Don't get so closed-minded on kind of your focus. You need to become good at that. I mean, don't be mediocre at the thing that you're assigned to do. If your coach assigns you a position group, you need to become great at that before you start looking at other position groups. But eventually, your goal needs to be able to coach every position at a high level.
Other than just worrying about like your specific position, I think another thing that's important to understand is the conceptual view of how your offense and defense works. I know I was able to work under our defensive coordinator like every day for 5 years. So I was able to learn from the D-line, which I love, to linebackers, to our defensive backs. And to understand how the concepts work together makes you a better position coach. If you're a linebackers coach, you understand that we're two-gapping the three technique so we can play faster over the top. Well, and you understand the technique that the three technique has to do that. That makes you better teacher to your linebackers. And the same thing with your linebacking, with your DBs and understanding run fits and everything like that. But you don't have to play this position, or you don't have to play and coach the same position. Clearly, I didn't play linebacker, as I already told you I was a bad player. But just being able to understand concepts and how it all fits together is really good for any coach.
Perfect. Uno más.
I would like to know if your family is involved with you on the football. If you talk with them about football on the table, if they love football as you do.
My parents are at every game that they can come to. My mom doesn't know a lick about football, but she'll be in the stands no matter I'm coaching or the water boy. I'm a mama's boy, and I don't deny that at all. They're in everything. They're very supportive of my life, and they love football. They just love seeing me do what I do. Very supportive. They've watched me move 16 hours away from home, and then move back 5 hours away from that. So they're very supportive of everything I've always done, and they just want me to be happy and do what I love, and they're so supportive when it comes to that.
I'm like 30 years old. My mom still gets worried about me traveling to Mexico. She's still mad about it. My parents have always been really supportive, but they, again, their mindset was different. I was the first person in our family to go to college. In their mindset, it was, make sure you do something that's sustainable financially. Like, get a job, So the fact that my career path, or I guess my life journey, has been not in any way monetarily driven, it's probably been a little bit tough for them to understand. But I think once they've seen kind of the impact of it, I hope, I think they've really understood it. It's changed them over time. It's been a really nice kind of give and take between them. I'm single with no kids, and football is probably a big part of that, so I can't speak to wife or kids or any of that stuff, and these guys can, but I've always been supported in whatever I was going to do.
I'm single as well, so I'll talk more about parents. I'll let Jordan cover the wife and kids. But I actually have a text from my dad right now that said, "How did AFCAM go today?" So he's very involved. He knows all the players' names on my entire team. Asked about them all the time. Hey, how did so and so do at practice today? And if I don't call him once every couple days and update him on the team and recruiting and every bit of the game, he gets mad at me. So yeah, he's very involved.
I know I've kind of already talked about my wife a little bit already, but I can't emphasize enough how important it is that she is as big a football fan as I am. I'm trying to teach her the offense. I want her. She wants to know the signals. She wants to know when we're throwing it deep. And so that's important. But we don't have kids yet. My wife and I have been married for coming up on 8 years. But football it's in our blood. It's in our blood. The game itself is not something that you can just kind of halfway do. You can't halfway commit to football. It's got to be a family deal. And in coaching, if your family doesn't support you, if they don't want to talk about football at the table, if that's not something, if they don't want to allow you to watch video in the living room or watch the game that's on TV, then it's going to be miserable, because as a coach, that's what you love to do. And it's your passion. And so the man upstairs has blessed me with my best friend who loves what I do. She supports what I do. She picked up her life to go to Sweden. She picked up her life to come back to Central Texas, to South Texas, to Arkansas, and beyond. And I couldn't imagine it being any other way. So in short, the answer is yes, football is absolutely vital. But I will say, it's not the most important thing. It's not the most important thing. And I've learned over time that when football itself gets put out of order, if it gets put at the top of the list, everything below it suffers. You can't worship football and be a good husband. You can't worship football and be a great dad. Matt here is a great dad. He's got 2 beautiful little ones and an awesome wife who does the same thing for him that my wife does for me. She supports him being in Mexico here, facilitating this event and talking football and being around this deal. So, that's a really good question and a really important one, I think, that needs to be answered for sure. So.
Okay, just wanted to take a second and give a round of applause to Chris and the coaches on the panel for just sharing their lives with you. We just have a few more things that we'd like to share with you tonight, and then we're going to invite everybody in the room to join us for coffee and dessert right out here in the lobby. So, just on behalf of Athletes in Action Football, it's a pleasure, it's a treat, it's an honor, it's a privilege to be here with you, and we look forward to getting to know you better. So, wanted to just share Twitter. We love to use Twitter all the time. So please follow us. We'll follow you back. Track your seasons. Any info, any advice that we might be able to share to help your program, we'd love to do it. Second slide, tomorrow afternoon at Tec de Monterrey Field, just right out here, Derek Maurer, former kicker at Bucknell University, is going to put on a special teams clinic for anybody who would like to either come and watch and take notes or invite your players. If your players are within driving distance and can make it here, we're going to put on a camp for free, totally for free. So we'd love to be able to serve you in that capacity. So here are the times. Jump back. Here are the times right here, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. right out here on the field on campus. So last slide. We just wanted to take a second and personally invite each one of you to attend our International Coaches Academy. In the fall, this will be our 6th year that we have put this academy on. We have coaches, basketball and football from all over the world that come and are trained, are resourced in X's and O's, and character issues, character development, and life. Just life issues, and we can talk through those and help you to continue to be a more complete, more well-rounded coach. If you're not just hitting the X's and O's, but you're developing lives, and you're developing young men, and you're developing families, and you're changing generations. And so that's how we want to equip you, and just personally invite each one of you in the room to attend this fall. So. Dates, November 9th through the 19th, 2015, this year. Athletes in Action's World Headquarters, which is located in Ohio. And these are some of the things that we were able to do with some of the coaches. Ohio State University, Marshall University, Indiana, and Butler were just some of the schools. We were able to visit a lot more. Those were some of the highlights. So if you need any other info or questions about coming to our academy, we'd love to share them with you. So thank you again so much for the time this evening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying engaged. Please join us for dessert and coffee right out in the lobby. Thank you.